That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, joined by my guy, as always, Brandon. And it is Philly the podcast on A2D Radio. We back up in my man's kitchen. You know what I'm saying? We back up in here to cook. So before we get into all this, I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the show, who is Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. You can go ahead and try them out. Use promo code A2D at checkout for 20% off bodycheckwellness.com. But today we're going to talk a little bit football. We're going to talk a little bit of football. Now, we are going to talk about, Jalen Hurts changing his number. We're going to talk about all that and maybe if it means anything more. Spoiler alert, probably doesn't. But we're going to talk about it. But I wanted to ask you, like I was saying in the back, Mike K just put out a tweet with all the Eagles numbers that are still available, right? So I wanted to go over them. I want to ask you, me and you used to play football. So I want to ask you, if you were going to go play for the Eagles, what number would you want? Now we'll go over the numbers real quick. We got 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 17, 25, 27, 30, 34, 39, 43, 50, 51, 56, 71, 72, 75, 85, 87, 90, and 93. I don't know if you'll go a high number, but
probably not. If 37 was there, that'd be an easy one for me because that's the number I had in high school. But the 1 year I did play in college, I was number 2. So, I'd probably take number 2, take Jalen's old number and rock.
That's dope.
If cornerbacks could get number 2, I'd be rocking number 2 if they change that rule.
I'm sure at this point they should. I don't know what the rule is for that. I don't know how it is in NFL.
I don't know why there is a rule. I get it for the offensive linemen and so that you can tell who's eligible and who's not. But for everybody else, who cares?
Yeah, you got Chase out there running with the number 1. I mean, in high school I wore 71. At least for Hall. For Hall, I wore 71. In Newington, I wore whatever jersey they had extra because I did not play in Newington. Newington was a whole different monster. But so I'm going with 71 since it, But there's a couple numbers that haven't even been taken in a couple years. So I just wanted to do that because I thought that would be fun. So you would go number 2 and I would go number 71. You know what I'm saying? And I would probably go and try and be like a defensive tackle, maybe. That would be probably where I would go. You would go back to cornerback. But anyways, we're not here about that. I just thought that would be kind of fun. Jalen Hurts went back to number 1, I should say. He went in Alabama. He was number 2. Obviously came into the NFL wearing number 2 because Cam Johnston, our punter, had the number 1. Shout out to him. And shout out to our new punter, Aaron Sipos, who we had the pleasure of interviewing the other day.
Yep.
But just raw reactions. Your first reaction, Jalen Hurts changes his number. What was your first thoughts when you saw it?
I mean, I part of me wanted to go he's trying to because Carson changed it to 2, he wants to change his number to number 1 or something like that. And that's the fun route, right? That's the route that you can go to just to build the conspiracy, build up a rivalry that may or may not be there. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be there at least for this year to see who plays better. But then you go back and you look at, you even did, I think, a picture of the fade in the background of him at Oklahoma, and he has the number 1 jersey. So you could imagine that he felt that he revitalized his career at Oklahoma in order to get drafted in the second round, and going back to number 1 probably makes him feel like he has that swag again or something.
Yeah, I was hyped for it. And, I was kind of thinking about the drama because at this point, I feel like every time I see, and I know it's the hater in me, and I fully embrace it at this point. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Every time I see Carson Wentz putting up one of those slow motion videos of him punching bag or doing some dumb stuff that he's never done in Philly, it just gets me it boils something deep. So I hope it does the same thing for Jalen Hurts, because I'm starting to see Jalen Hurts put out a lot of videos of him doing work that matters, right? Because at the end of the day, he's a quarterback. He's not a boxer. right? So I like seeing my quarterback out there doing quarterback drills. But as far as the number, like you said, I like it. I feel like it's sometimes it's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when I asked you what number you wanted to go, you went to a mental, like it was a mental place. There's a reason why you wanted that number, right? So I feel like as much as we might just sit here and be like, hey, it's just a number change. We've played football. We know people have played football. We've spoken to people. Everything you do matters. You know what I'm saying? From the things that you say, from the things that you do. So I do think, shout out to Eagles Realist, like he said, it shows confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, really let Wentz live. Never. I'm never. But no, yeah. So I agree with you 100%. I think that it shows that he's ready for the mindset that it's going to take. You know what I'm saying? You don't make a move like that. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you're totally, benevolent to the situation that you're in. You're in Philly. But I don't think you make that move without knowing the smoke that it's going to come from that. Like, right now, people are going to make shows and ask, are you ready to be number one? You know what I'm saying? So I think it came with a just like with Carson, just like with our front staff, our front office, everybody put pressure on themselves this year. And I like it. Because this is everything for everybody. Because, we can go back to Howie for a second. Howie's got to really show improve, especially moving back. Because I feel like you were kind of in a position, and we've talked about this, that you could have stood at 6, took the fan favorite in like a Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. And if that doesn't work out, we might still call, we might still be like, you suck, Howie, but we can't really blame you. Now, you're going to probably miss out on one of those guys that we want, and you're going to take somebody. You better hope that he hits. You know what I'm saying? That you better hope that he hits. But, other than that, there were a couple other jersey changes. I don't really think any of them matter.
Right. There was some.
Not really trying to be a rude person.
I was like, who is that? And you're like, oh, bro, he's been on the practice squad on and off. I'm like, I have never heard of that dude. But even, I guess, one other like kind of conspiracy, not really conspiracy, but just thought that I just thought of, that maybe he also wants to go back to number 1, because you know how first round picks typically pull up that like number 1 jersey, and it's just like, oh, maybe I'm out here to prove that I should have been a number 1 pick, so a first round pick. So you could play it that way too, but like I said, it's just funny because I think he also, like you said, confidence, just the way that he had it in college, and it's just maybe something that brings out more into him Superman vibes. And then I mean, we can go on and on about Howie and trading back so early, because if let's say 4 quarterbacks go bang bang bang, all the first 4 picks, and then the Bengals choose, let's say, Jamar Chase, there's a chance that someone's going to want to trade up to get like a Mac Jones or whoever that 5th quarterback is, and you could have gotten so much more. I just don't get the premature vibes from Howie right now. I just don't know why he felt the need, like the Dolphins are making moves. Let me make a move right this second. I don't get it. I just don't.
Yeah, and we helped the Dolphins. Like maybe they had all that like figured out, prior to it. But like,
true.
I just don't get. I just don't get I don't think I'll ever get it until we get to that pick. Once we're at 12, and maybe Jamar Chase falls, maybe it's like a whole different outlook than we thought. You know what I'm saying? That it's like a whole bunch of quarterbacks, a whole bunch of offensive line and defensive line. Like a lot of people forget about Kwity Paye. A lot of people are really getting hype on Jalen Phillips now. There's about 3 offensive linemen that can realistically go in that top 15 right now. So we might get lucky, emphasis on might. Big emphasis on
and
might.
Someone might take Devontae Smith over Jamar Chase. I mean, sometimes that Heisman Trophy itself kind of speaks louder compared to a guy that wasn't playing this past season. So there's a chance that they might say, well, this guy was out there. He proved what he can do. He won the Heisman over everybody else in the country. Maybe they choose Devontae Smith, and maybe Chase falls. Maybe. Just maybe.
Honestly, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I think Kyle Pitts is going to fall. I think the media and I think fans love Kyle Pitts, and we hear all this. Oh, an NFL exec said this. An NFL until someone comes out and says something. I'm not believing. Shout out to all the media that we've spoken to. Even what's it called? Tom had Rob Motti on the other day, yesterday. A great interview that he did. So shout out to him. But, we've all spoken to these reporters, and some of these guys do great jobs, but it's a different animal this year, and I feel like some people are reaching. So until I actually see it, it's hard for me to really believe that Kyle Pitts is going to go third or fourth or fifth. Like, I just don't see it. I could be 100% wrong, and I probably am, but I think he's going to be somebody that actually slips. And like I said, we might see it be a totally defensive draft. It might end up being a bunch of, J.C. Horn going higher than we think. But I think there's a lot of talent. So in that retrospect, I understand moving back. And I think we've always said that it's, moving back makes sense. It makes sense to recoup or even just, stack up on draft picks, on stuff like that. But you didn't get anything for it, really. So, like, it makes it, you did get something. We got 1.5 picks. So, I've said my theory on that a bunch of times. But yeah, I just don't get it. But let's get back to Jalen real quick. Somebody said, hold on, I wanted to read this because he said, I wish him the best, and no matter what, I will root for him. But I need to see a significant difference in Hurts, especially at the passing game. So I want to ask you, what are some things because at the end of the day, we all know, I think we can agree here, he's not perfect. He's got things he's got to work on. So what are some things you want to see him improve upon next year?
Yeah, there was a couple of plays even last year where I was like, I believe it's like rookie mistakes, just getting used to the NFL. And it was a couple of the out routes he threw. I feel like those are, you need to get those out quick and anticipate that's where you're going to go with the ball. Because as soon as you wait a second, it's easier for the corners to jump that. And Hurts should have had probably 2 more interceptions on his resume because it bounced off the DB's hands. So those are different things that I believe that it's going to come with having an off season, working out with the wide receivers. He didn't get a chance to do that. He was on the scout team all season and then was thrown into the fire at the end of the season and had to work with guys that were either injured and whatnot, plus with the play calling that was going on. I mean, there wasn't really scheming dudes open or using dudes to their strengths. So I think this offseason is going to give at least Hurts a good amount of practice and reps in. And you just got to hope that that's the truth and that this guy can persevere and show that he is our quarterback for the future and can save us there. And then we can just really focus on building the team rather than using all the assets we have next year to grab a quarterback that maybe we don't need.
Yeah, I just want to see the continuation in his maturity. Like, I feel like he's continuing to grow. He knows when to speak. He knows what to say and what not to say. And he's been doing that well. I think that's huge. You know what I'm saying? Because in a off season where I feel people are drawing straws, and like I said, I don't want to talk junk about the media right now, but it's a different animal. So he has been clean. He's been squeaky clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing negative has been said about the kid, and that's something to a credit. On the field, I agree with what a lot of people are saying and what you're saying. He needs to just continue to get better as a quarterback, reading defenses, getting off his first read a little bit quicker, going through his progressions a little bit quicker, and I think that's all stuff you learn. And hopefully Nick Sirianni, we don't know what he's going to run, right? Nick Sirianni, hopefully he brings in an offense that's going to tailor to that. That's going to kind of, help him out there because,
right.
Talent is nothing without scheme. If you don't have a good scheme around any player, they're gonna fail miserably. So it doesn't matter if we got Joe Montana back there. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea why I brought up Joe Montana like that. I don't know why that's the first quarterback my head went to. I think it's because I watched Waterboy the other day. But we can have anybody back there. It doesn't matter if you don't have the right scheme for him. So right. I agree. Like, going back on the draft a little bit. Like, do you think that? With that said, do you think? Because I didn't want to do this, but I got to do this. All right, he says there's no chance that Pitt is falling past Atlanta. So this is why I want to ask this, because you look at when you're in the top 15, you look at the value of players, right? I feel like sometimes we even argue about the value of a wide receiver. There is not one tight end in this league. Like, I'm sorry, you give me Gronk at rookie year. In his rookie year, I'm not taking him at 4. I'm not taking him at 6. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. And he even had some type of track record. Like, Kyle Pitts does not have that track record. Say that again?
He should have at least said top 10. He's going to get past Atlanta. Like, let's be real here. I mean, if you're looking, especially the Falcons, they need a future. Everyone's saying that next year's quarterback class is not as good as this year. You're sitting at the number 4 spot. You can get a guy like Trey Lance that's probably going to fall to that number 4 spot. Or even Justin Fields. Who knows if he makes it to number 4? He could be that number 4 spot. And you can – I think Justin Fields is from the Georgia area. So that would fit perfect. The hometown kid. You get a year behind Matt Ryan, and then you can get Matt Ryan out of there. I mean, and unfortunate for Matt Ryan, he's still a decent quarterback, but he's getting older in age, and you know that you're going to move forward sooner than later. So you can get a quarterback at 4. That's what I'm thinking. 4 quarterbacks can go all back to back to back to back. And if Atlanta takes anyone, I don't know. I don't really see them getting more firepower for that offense. They have so many pass catchers that they could benefit from either getting their quarterback of the future, trading back, or grabbing like an offensive lineman or someone for the defense. They have so many pass catchers. I just don't see it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that, and people are gonna. I know the quote. People are already ready to type in. He's more than just a tight end. He's a weapon. He's a weapon. That's cool, man. Like he's unproven to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can sit here and say, oh, you saw last year. You got to watch this. But like he's good. He's very good. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. His body is crazy. What he can do at his size is crazy. But we've seen people come in before and have that type of body type and fail. We've seen people, and I'm not saying he will. And even at the number 4, number 5, number 6, in the top 10, there's a different level of failure. I mean, like if you're a top 10 player and you just play 5 or 6 years, you're probably a failure. Like that's not what you get drafted for. So for me to say that a tight end is going to go over anybody, I just can't see it. And it's not even just that he's a tight end. You know what I'm saying? It's more so that he doesn't have a position, and that's a positive and that's a negative. You know what I'm saying? You can say he's a weapon. Yes, that's cool. But do you draft a Jabril Peppers at number 4? No, that didn't work out well when they drafted him that high because he was a weapon. Like there's a lot of different players that just didn't work out.
Right.
I get it, and I get that he could be something great for this, but do you draft could be at number 6, especially number 4? To me, he's definitely getting. But if they take him at number 4, that's just dumb to me. I'm sorry, that's just dumb to me. Unless he is like the next Shannon Sharp, or you know what I'm saying, and I mean Shannon to all the way down to his show. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna give me that, I need 20 years of entertainment from you at the number 4 spot.
I mean, speaking of the draft and all these rookies coming in, what are your thoughts on how this might be the fastest draft class I've ever seen? I don't think I've heard a 5-second 40 yet so far. What are your thoughts on all these pro days compared to having an actual combine with like the lasers, whatever, and all that stuff?
Well, I know they're doing the same, quote unquote, they're doing the same procedures that they would do at the draft. I think that it's a mixture of things. I think that some stuff is getting kind of maybe a little fudged up. Maybe I don't want to say people are doing it on purpose, but maybe something's getting lost in translation, right? I mean, a millisecond is a big thing in those 40s. So I think that might have something to do with it. And I also think that we're just seeing a new breed of athletes. Like a lot of these players, I've done a lot of the, draft profiles of a lot of these players, from linebackers to safeties, a lot of defensive players. And then me and you were having this conversation yesterday of former quarterbacks that were wide receivers or vice versa. So it's like you see so much versatility that it's hard to really like believe it because we're used to a certain thing. But to a certain extent, I could see that these guys are just getting bigger, stronger, and faster. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, I do believe it to a certain extent. Like the whole Jason Owa getting a higher 40 than Chase, that's eye-opening. But is it more eye-opening for Jason Owa, or is it more eye-opening for Jamar Chase? So it's like, we've talked about this. This year is probably the most important year to really have good scouts, to have people that have been watching these guys, for years. Like I said, I don't want to say that it's completely all false. I do think that these guys are way more athletic than we've probably ever seen. But I do think at a certain extent, they're kind of, come on. Shout out to Jimmy Morrissey, though, because, we interviewed him. Jimmy Morrissey had like a 5'3", and he was like, bro, I'm good. That was good. I'm good on that. I'll take that. Like that was probably the highlight of the whole pro days. Like I saw his interview. He was just like, yeah, no, I'm cool with 5'3". That's hey, I'll take that all
I was
day.
moving.
Yeah, he was like, you saw me out there. I'm good. Let's do it. Let's do it. Shout out to his Eagles realist. He says some clocks getting stopped a little early. Might be.
Yeah, I even saw on Twitter, Darius Slay was like, yo, these dudes are fast. Like it's like everyone's like, how is this possible? But who knows? Like you said, it's a different day and age. People are training different. You got like the linebacker from Notre Dame. He looks like he's built like a running back, the way I was watching him do some of his drills. And then you compare it to about 10, 15, 20 years ago to a guy like Ray Lewis. Like it's just two different body types, two different like ways that the NFL and this sport in general is growing. They're getting thinner, they're getting faster, and you got to be able to compete with guys like a Kyle Pitts that are maybe one day 15 years ago was a wide receiver and was only thought as a wide receiver, but you move him to tight end and now this guy is a beast because he's a mismatch, and you got to get the players to adjust to that and advance. So it's a different day and age. So you could be right about that, just the way people are training nowadays. And you can train for a 40 if you got the speed and the strength to do so. Like those are things you can train for. It's that football speed that really you got to pay attention to. That's why, like you said, the scouting this year is more important than ever, because there are kids that didn't play last year. They played the year before. So you're basing everything off of a year before, a year of not playing, and then a couple of little pro day exercises.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, we said this before. I mean, how realistic are pro days? Like, there's a lot of little things that I feel like aren't sexy drills that tell you more than, you know what I'm saying, just some guy running 40 yards straight.
Right.
Because like how often do you really see that? You know what I'm saying? It's nice for cornerbacks because you really never see their full speed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to that. You're usually on defense. You know what I'm saying? You're usually, not to be, no pun intended, but you're usually kind of backpedaling, or you're, right there with them. It's usually a reactionary position. So I guess for them, it makes sense to see, let's see what your just flat out speed is. But somebody like a wide receiver, like you see them run all the time. Their routes are what you really care about, right? Running back, same thing. You see them get that full, speed. So I don't know. I feel like they're going to probably slowly, change up what we see at these pro days. But I mean, what are some things that you think that they should add to it, like, or remove from it? Is there anything like you would add or remove from pro days?
I mean, I don't know if I'd remove anything, but at least for the DBs, just like the timing of like backpedaling and then having to get out of that break. Like, let's say you practice a slug go route, and you break down on the slant, but then what's that speed? What is that reactionary cutback to get the guy going on a fly? Because, I mean, as an Eagles fan, we've seen our team get beat by that for years now, going back to, I forget his name. He ended up going to the Patriots, but he got burnt all the time. I think it was like Bradley Fletcher. I don't even know.
Oh, but, I know. Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So I mean, they get beat by those kind of routes a lot. And, I mean, that would be a good indicator to see what some of these cornerbacks can do, or safeties or whatever, when it comes to breaking down and getting back. I would love to see more of that. And then, did you see that Quez Watkins video that they posted like on Twitter? Like he's getting working, and then he went to go stop on a hitch. But like some of like the real good guys, like a CeeDee Lamb or something, where their footwork looks crazy, it looked like he couldn't stop. It just looked bad. It didn't look good. It looked like a sloppy route, and it's just like, oh shoot, this isn't looking good. But
I mean, he didn't play all last year. Maybe there's a reason behind that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what I think, that all these guys didn't get a fair shot in that last year. We're going to see. We're going to see now. Like, there's really no – I mean, I guess if these coaches suck, they suck too. But, like, at this point, you got to do something. Everybody on this team. You have to do something, because nobody's – we could start – over the next couple years, we could have a full new 52. You know what I'm saying? The way that our cap is set up, the way that these people's contracts are set up, you might not see any of these people in 2 or 3 years, depending on what happens this year. So This is it. I mean, this is it. Quez, I hope he's good. I hope he's good. I think we had a lot of hope. I maybe is the right word. We definitely wanted him to be good. So I hope that he can get it right. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't see
the
that
whole
video.
rookie class. I mean, they all were quote unquote speedsters, and we were doing Hail Mary routes every other play. So, I mean, John Hightower, he was getting open. He was just dropping big plays.
Yeah, and he wasn't fighting for the ball. That was what pissed me off. It's like he would, like you said, he would be open, you would get open, and then you would just stand there. Like, all right, yeah, that's not that. Like, you did half of it. Like, you're there. Like, you're right there, Hightower. Now get the ball. Like, like now go get it. Go get it. It's like, you know, your dog will bring you the bone, but he won't like go fetch it afterwards. Like that. It's like bro, you got to grab the bone and bring it back. Like that's how that works. Like,
Right.
But I mean, I hope he's good. Bill Middlebrook says I did a mock simulator last night that had Pitts at 12. The other picks looked realistic, so you never know. I'd be happy with Smith or Surtain. Excuse me. That's what we've seen. We've seen a couple different scenarios where, look, Jamar Chase or a Kyle Pitts can fall, and it'll be interesting to see if people, you know, value a Kyle Pitts over a Jamar Chase. I feel like you have to build an offense not around him, but an offense has to be suiting for someone like Kyle Pitts. Like I think like a Jamar Chase, you plug and play him. So like, look, I hope that everybody likes Kyle Pitts in the top 10 because me personally, I'm not a huge, you know, if we get him, we get him. I wouldn't be mad. You know, it is what it is. I just don't see what everybody else sees. So I'm not going to keep on talking junk about him. He's a Philly kid. You know, everything makes sense with him. So I get it. I understand the love of him, but just for me, I don't know, man. I don't know. One of the three receivers drafted last year have to have a breakout season. That's a fact. That's a fact. I think Jalen Reagor could do it. Who would you pick? Who would you pick if you had to pick
I think
one
we
of them?
all can agree that Jalen Reagor needs to be the guy to have somewhat of a breakout season. Doesn't need to be to look like Terrell Owens out there, but he needs to look like, okay, this is who a first-round pick is. We're utilizing him. He's getting the ball multiple times a game, hopefully staying healthy. Like, those are the kind of things we need from Jalen Reagor. So that's an easy one. And then to get outside of that, I would say, I mean, I would like to see improvement from John Hightower. I mean, we saw that he was able to get open against NFL defenses, and we didn't play against, like, bad teams either. We were playing against some tough teams all season. And he just had some huge drops. I mean, even in that I think it was the Ravens game where we could have started off so good, and then we ended up falling back after that one big drop in the beginning. And that lowers the comp. I mean, I was happy that Wentz was still going to him, even though he was dropping the ball. But imagine if he caught those. Like, that guy, he could have had such a big season, or at least you catch those. Then the defense is like, okay, we got to really watch out for this guy. Like, that kind of stuff. And you open the field for Goddard. You open the field for Fulgham, for Greg Ward, for whoever, Miles Sanders, all of them. So I would like to see John Hightower really step it up, at least with his hands and being aggressive, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably the second most likely after Reagor, because I've heard that Reagor is going to be in the slot, which is, you know, it's heartbreaking at this point, just because it's like you didn't draft Justin Jefferson because you said he was only a slot guy, and now we're moving Jalen Reagor to the slot. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is, I guess. You know, maybe they know something I don't, you know. So, putting him in the slot, look at that. As soon as I say that, he comments it. Yeah, putting him in the slot, that'll probably be big for him. You know what I'm saying? It's a mismatch spot. That's where you put your mismatch at. You know, a lot of people probably wouldn't be happy, but Kyle Pitts will probably be in that slot a lot. He'd probably be moving around a lot, but he'd probably do most of his damage in the slot. We saw when, you know, we put Djax there, he got to eat. You know, that's what you want. So, and hopefully, like, I think best case scenario, I think Hightower is more of an outside guy than Reagor, if I'm being 100% honest. So, like, you know, I think best case scenario, we're looking at Reagor on the slot. You're looking at Fulgham on the outside. You're looking at John Hightower on the outside. And then you got your, you know, tight end sets. Like, so that, I mean, that's what we're looking at, best case scenario. And then you have whatever you add this, you know, draft. And you hope that, you know, we got to hope that what we have is good, because we have to fix this defense.
Just
if
like
this
take
offseason
off those wide receivers, this is making me think, like, damn, we really don't have like a short hands dude. Like, I know like Greg Ward could be like a short hands, but like that's not like a number one. Like, we don't have a number one. It's scary.
Yeah, and I don't even think I love Greg Gord. I think Greg Gord's a great player, but I don't even think he's like a number 2. Like, I don't, he's a solid number 3.
Yeah.
He's a solid number 3, but you got to get him off those punt returns.
Yeah.
Boston Scott got to get off the special teams. Like, I'm happy that he's back on the team to a certain extent, because it's cheap for us, so it's kind of a prove it year. It's like I think he's getting paid $850,000, which is nothing over a year, but you got to get him off special teams. We have, people like Hightower. If all Quez can do is return punts, I'm good with that. You drafted him in what, like the 5th round? I'm cool with that. If he's a punt returner, I'm cool with that. Let's figure this out, though, because the guys we have right now on in certain positions, it just doesn't make sense. So I need to see some changes in that. But it's going to be ugly. I just don't want this offseason to become like if we draft another 3 wide receivers, like it's not going to be a good situation. Like that's not what I want to see. Like we need to fix this defense. Like take a year off. And I've said it before, if you want to go and get like the best wide receiver that's available at number 12, God be with you, go do your thing. But man, don't make this whole draft about offense, because that is like, I don't want to say it's the least of our problems, but it's probably the least of our problems. Our defense is old and they're trash. So we got to figure this out. Fulgham's at number 1. We'll see. We'll hope. How many receiving yards do you think Rager will get? I think he will get 500 at most.
At most?
Yeesh.
No, come on. We need him to. He needs to have 500 by like mid-season. I need this guy to have at least minimum like 750. Minimum.
Yeah, it depends on where he is too. Like, go ahead.
We don't have Alshon. We don't have DJ. We might not have Ertz. Like even Ertz has been able to get close to 1,000 yards. So I'm gonna need our 1st-round pick wide receiver to get yards. And I'm not talking about he needs to catch deep balls. I need him to catch a slant and take it like 50 yards. Like I need yak yards.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I say it depends on where he is as far as like where he is on. If we go ahead and draft, let's say Jamar Chase falls to us, okay, and he's in the slot. If you get 800 yards, I'm happy with that. I think I think that's solid. If you're our number 1 going into next year, I need like 11. I need 12. I need you to make, because otherwise we're not going to pay you again. Like that, it just comes down to that. You have to prove that you're going to be the number 1, or you got to prove we might have reached on you, but we got us a solid number 2. We got us a solid number 3. You're going to fall into a role. You have to maximize that role. So, like you said, if he's in the slot, I need at least like 750, 800 yards. If you're number 2, number 1 option, I need you to go out there and ball. I need you to, like you said, I need you to help out Jalen Hurts, because it's probably going to be a lot of short throws, a lot of quick stuff. So go ahead and help him. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and help him be that guy that he can trust. If you don't, who knows? John Hightower might become that guy. Quez Watkins might become that guy.
Right.
Khalil Tate might become that guy. We've seen random guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we brought this up a little bit, but what do you think about Ertz? Do you think that, as the days keep going, does it become more of a stronger possibility that he might stay in that Eagles uniform next year?
I don't think, unless it's a trade by like by the draft or something. I'm seeing, at least on Twitter, that maybe only one team's interested in Ertz. And I think Ertz needs to come to the realization, unless the Eagles are willing to cut him, that no one's going to want to pay him as much as he thinks he's going to get. Like, the guy's only getting older, and he's going to be in his 30s by the time his 2-year contract's up, where he wants an extension. So I think I don't know if he played his cards right. I think he needed to have a big season. If it wasn't this past one, then for this next one to really negotiate and then be like, all right, you know what? You're not giving me the money. Put me on the trade. I was either good for Wentz, I'm good for Hurts, whatever season he excelled at. But he over there had his fight with Howie. And then this past year, he's either been hurt or just didn't look the same. Didn't look like he was willing to give it his all like he did the season before. And obviously that might have been a business decision, of course, because the season before he gave up his ribs and then he came back probably sooner than he should to play in the playoffs. So I get it. I get the business side. But if you're looking to negotiate and really put yourself out there, you got to show these teams like I'm actually still good and I'm not falling off in talent as I'm getting older. So if I was a betting man, I would bet that he's going to be on the team by the time the season starts.
Yeah, he probably will be. I mean, at this point, you're probably not going to get nothing from him, like you said. And it might be he might be waiting on Ertz, but you didn't wait on the draft pick. So I don't know why you'd wait on Ertz. I don't know how Ertz's value becomes any more than it is right now. Exactly. Like, and I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe this is all blowing over. Maybe they just don't. It's not as big as everybody's kind of making it out to be. But I doubt it at this point. It's probably. I think Ertz picked the worst time. Like you said, you can't bargain when you have nothing to really show. Like, yeah, you had a good season back then. You were paid back then. You know what I'm saying? We can't give out thank you contracts. We did that after the Super Bowl, and this is where we are now. You know what I'm saying? Right. So can't keep on thanking people for what they did. It's about, moving forward and looking forward. And we got somebody like Dallas that, can take that spot. It'll be interesting. Because realistically, if Ertz comes back, will he even – talent-wise, it says to me, no brainer. Yeah, you're gonna have Ertz as your starter, but do you just go ahead and start putting Goddard in as that number one because you're probably not gonna have Ertz that much longer? Like, I mean,
I don't know. I would if we had Ertz, I think that would help Hurts a lot. I honestly think that would help a lot if they were to figure things out and become cordial, and he can stay and he'll play hard, blah blah blah. I think that'd be great between Ertz and Goddard. Then we really wouldn't have to worry about guys wanting Kyle Pitts. I mean, otherwise, you're going to have 3 tight ends on the roster. Then you can maybe bring back a guy like Richard Rodgers to come in and be that role, to come in off the bench, come up with a good play, and then go back. And then you get the starters out there and everything like that. So I kind of hope Ertz is back, but the way this offseason has been between Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz, I can see it just being – I could see him just getting cut for some reason.
Yeah, if they do
I'm
that,
hoping he comes back, but I'll be very tight if we just cut him and get nada.
I wouldn't be surprised. We would get $2.5 million, I think it is what we would actually get from saving from him not being on the roster. I wouldn't be surprised because we're idiots. But, I mean – me personally, it's all about what your mind frame is. Like, if you feel some type of way, or just go, bro. Like, right. Fix your contract, figure out a team that wants you, and go. Like, it is what it is, or just sit the hell out and show your true colors. Because realistically, I understand that this is a business. I understand that everybody, got to think about. But bro, we ain't do shit to you, bro. I hate to use that, but we did not do anything to you, bro. Like, we could all have different opinions with Wentz and stuff like this, but I feel like this one is kind of getting thrown under the rug because it's like. Hasn't happened yet, you know what I'm saying? But like, if you feel some type of way, I don't know why. Like, because we got Goddard, is that why you feel some type of way? Like,
we got entitled players on this team, apparently.
That's what I'm saying. It really starting to feel like that. Like, bro, what did you expect? You know what I'm saying? Do you expect us to just keep you till you're 50? Like,
right?
I just don't get it. We win a Super Bowl and everybody's like, "Oh, my ish don't stink." I can't have a bad time. I can't have a bad year. Like, I don't know. We've talked to the Titans guy, or Colts guy, I should say, excuse me, about Nick Sirianni and stuff like that. And one thing they kept on saying is that they're not going to take any malarkey, right? They're gonna really call these guys out if they don't know the playbook, if they're slacking, if they're, what was his term, lazy bones, I think he said. He's definitely going to call them out. So that's what we need. We need to start, bring them out. Let's see who got the real colors, who's really bleeding green, and who is just, who's putting on a show. Because, bro, we've seen Brandon Graham already. He restructured. He did what he had to do to stay on this team, right? Fletch, I think, did something with his contract. You know what I'm saying? Lane was willing to do something with his contract. Like, we've seen the people that are down to do what they got to do. Ertz, we're not asking you to change your money. That's the crazy part. I've never heard a rumor that it was an argument between, and I know that you have an argument with your boss. That's the worst thing. You know what I'm saying? That sucks, especially if he's disrespecting you. You know what I mean? Maybe he just doesn't know how to talk. You know what I'm saying? Because the stuff that I heard, it was kind of stuff like me and you would probably say some dumb shit to each other like that. You know what I mean? Like, but we've been there. So maybe he's just trying to get close to his players, and he doesn't have that yet. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying he's abstained of anything, of any blame, As a man, read the room. As a person, read the room. Know your boundaries a little bit. But I mean, come on. You know, what's really going on? Why all this negativity? I feel like everything's just coming out now, you know. So if you don't want to be an Eagle, that's fine. Just I need people to start being honest. You know, come on the show one time. Just be like, listen, man, I like the fans, but you know, Howie did this and that, and it just, to me, you're at the end of your career. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, he might have 3 more years in him. If we're being fair, if we're being nice, he probably got 3 more years on the upper end of his career, right? So go ahead, if you really feel that type of way, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just so tired of all the lip service, all the I love the Eagles fans. You guys are amazing. Then show us a little bit of love. I know we're, you know, violently aggressive about how we feel about our team, but it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like the Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, I think I said his name right that time. He even said it. He's not even a player yet. He's not even a rookie yet. And he even said it. We love you when you're doing good. We hate you when you're doing bad. So I just don't get the disconnect. You know what I'm saying? I know I ranted a little bit.
More to it. Maybe his family just wants to move. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, maybe he wants to be a bigger star. Maybe because his wife is a huge star in the soccer realm, that maybe he wants a bigger star. I don't know. Who knows? But speaking of just like rumors and things I've seen on Twitter and stuff like that, what are your thoughts? There was one executive apparently said that if Russell Wilson gets on the market, the Eagles could possibly be a front runner in that. Would you be willing to give up a good amount of assets to bring in a guy like Russell Wilson over like a Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer this one real quick, and then I'm gonna answer you because this one is not right in my opinion. I'm gonna say that because if I'm you know my saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this would be Zach Ertz. If we were to pay him again, this would be like his 4th contract. I could be wrong. I think it's like his 3rd or 4th contract. So he's gotten paid. Anyways, now about Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. I've said this before on the show. I think that Russell Wilson, if I'm going crazy for any quarterback, it would be Russell Wilson. I understand the age difference. I understand that, you know, people were saying Deshaun Watson's roof is boom, you know, all the way up there. I could agree with that, you know, 100%. But I'm going to say twofold. I'm going to say, one, all these allegations, and that's exactly what I'm going to call them, their allegations at this point. All that stuff circling him is not something that we need in Philly right now. I don't think any team needs that. And I don't mean to laugh about it. It's not a laughing matter, but, you know, definitely not what we need in Philly right now. Definitely don't want to trade assets to bring that to Philly.
Right.
And then the second thing is I've seen what Russell Wilson can do with a terrible team. You know, and we've seen Deshaun Watson put up good numbers with subpar teams and terrible coaching. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him that. You know, listen, I'm a Penn State fan. So if you give me a chance to say Bill O'Brien is terrible, I will take it 10 times out of 10. But, you know, we've seen what they've been able to do in both poor situations, right? So I think that Russell Wilson would come here and do what he's supposed to do, even if we weren't able to build the team around him that we would probably want because of giving up all those draft picks. I don't want to get either of them. You know, I want to make that abundantly clear. I do not think that we are in a position to give up draft picks to go ahead and do that. I just don't think it's smart. Look, they could come and prove me wrong, and I would love to be proven wrong. I sit here and am a pessimist about a lot of things, but if I'm wrong, I will come on here and I will be, listen, I was wrong. I'll get a Howie tattoo. I'm not getting a Howie tattoo. I don't know why I was going to say that. But, you know, I would love to be wrong. But, it just, you know, I just don't feel like we're in the position to get either of them and still be good. You know, I think they'll be in the same position. And if I had to pick one or the other, like I said, I would probably take Russell Wilson over Deshaun Watson for those two reasons. But, I mean, what do you think? I don't think anybody really wants them, like realistic, but
I don't know if but I would take. I mean,
yeah,
if we were to come up with a deal, and maybe it would suck at the time. I think Russell Wilson would be that perfect guy. I mean, you get a leader, you get experience, you get a guy that can work with anything. I mean, I could be, I don't know, Tyler Lockett. He's great, and he just got a nice contract in Seattle. But I don't know if he's still that Tyler Lockett without Russell Wilson. I don't know. who knows if any other quarterback can connect with him that way or launch a deep ball pretty much perfect and on the money almost every time. So I don't know. So I figure if you can bring a guy like Russell Wilson here, you could probably make Jalen Reagor look great or give Hightower a nice launch of a ball and it's like perfect in the basket, hard to like really, really drop because his deep balls are just amazing. I don't know how he does it, but that arc and it looks like it just floats into people's hands. I don't know how he does it, but I would take Russell Wilson. I would.
Max, his deep balls look like a alley oop. It's crazy because it really is just like bloop. You got Lola Bunny just doing the D Wade thing on the side. You know what I'm saying? Like and that's the thing. We don't know what our team is like. This year sucked. You know, not just because we weren't good. It's because we didn't learn anything. Like we kept on going backwards every game. Like there was never that once, and I don't want to say mainly, but a big part of it is that we were still in the division for so long. So it was like you still don't want to change too much up because you want to still kind of give yourself a chance, I guess, in their eyes. But like, bro, like we didn't learn anything. I couldn't tell you if Rager's good or bad. I couldn't tell you what happened with Jalen. I couldn't tell you why Carson went. Like, I didn't learn anything. You know what I'm saying? I learned that our injuries are just getting worse. That's probably like the only thing I learned. Like, if you would have told me, you know, if we were here right now and none of this happened before and we were running it back, I'd probably have the same level of optimism. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd probably still think that we have the same level of chance because we don't know anything from last year. All we've seen was injuries and just poor play calling. So we'll see. We'll see.
I disagree with Mr. Andrew here. I would not trade.
Oh, yeah, I did want to bring that up.
No.
That would be interesting. That would probably be the best offer that we would get, too, because they're a top 10 pick, too. So you would get a top 10 third-round pick. Imagine that. And then, you know, it would be Dallas versus Zach Ertz.
No.
It would be Dallas versus Zach Ertz. You know, I would never want to do that just because of who it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. Didn't we trade with Dallas last year, or was it the year
but those
before
are draft picks and stuff like that. That's a little different than giving one of your prized possessions in a sense, one of the guys that grew up on our team, who's loved by our team, and then give him to the enemy. I mean, at least with T.O., we only had him for like a year and a half. That would be just so heartbreaking. And then with McNabb, we knew it was his time. Like he went to Washington, but it didn't hit that way. Like it was like, oh man, in the division, and then we had that one game with Vic, and that we ended up winning by like mad points, and it was like, okay, it is what it is. But for Zach Ertz to go to Dallas, I'd be upset, to say the least.
I'll say one thing. Listen, we got 10 more minutes. We're gonna close it out with like this. All right. I'll say one thing. If we're going to suck, at least make it entertaining. Like a lot of people are bringing up T.O., bringing up Vic. We were obviously great when we had T.O., but Vic, we weren't that great of a team. Listen, we were a 10-6 team. You know, it is what it is. But that was damn entertaining, though. It was damn entertaining. Like every game, we had a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And in his 1 or 2 seasons here, he has probably like 3 or 4 games that just come off your memory. You know what I'm saying? That just, you know, you could talk about that Washington opening play type deal, blowout, like you said. The miracle at the Meadowlands. You can go down the list of things he did. And if Jalen Hurts can have that type of season and just prove that he's somebody that is worth building around, I think that that's worth it. But I want to end it like this because we keep on talking about this, and I feel like Eagles fans keep on talking about this. What is the bar? What does he have to prove to stay here? We're on next year. Will be his second year, obviously, of his contract. After that, it becomes his third. It's a crazy thing how math works. But so what is the bar? Because he only has really 2 more years after this season. So what does he have to prove? Right? Like
this bar,
you know, what are we looking at?
The bar for the actual bar, I think, is just it's high. It's up there. It's not even. It's like a fantasy how high that bar is. It's unfair, to be honest. You're gonna ask the guy to go out there to really prove himself, to be not only just good, but he has to be like good, like great in a sense, to really secure his position the following year where we have all our assets. But then at the same time, we have a rookie head coach. We have a bunch of young coaches, maybe 2 that we retained from the last staff, and then a bunch of young offensive people. Our offensive line's a little older, but all of our wide receivers are young. We have a young running back. We just have a young team. And then our defense, we don't even know what's happened. We have Darius Slay and then some guys playing corner. And then I don't even know who's going to – I mean, we have Anthony Harris at safety now, maybe Rodney, and then it's just tough. And then our linebackers, we don't even know. So our team could very well look decent, but then who knows what's going to happen. I think the only way to really judge him is by his individual stats in a sense and, like, his leadership, how he looks. Does he look like he's getting these guys that are just nobodies or guys that would just be on rosters looking decent and good, whereas and his touchdown to interception ratio is like really good, like 25 touchdowns to 5 interceptions for the year. I mean, that would be great. I think that would be good. He's going to have to work on those fumbles, but he's going to it's unfair expectations for this guy. And if anyone could do it, I think it could be Hurts. I mean, he's been through a lot already. So just to kind of bring it back to your question of Jalen Hurts ready to be quarterback number 1, I think he is. I'll agree to that. That would be my segue to kind of bring it all back right there. What are your thoughts?
First of all, this dude said right here, he's like, we get Watson, keep all our picks this and next year. It's a wrap. If we can get that trade, make it happen, buddy.
Yeah,
make it happen.
We're giving up Fletcher Cox. We're giving up Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, we're giving up
Zach Ertz.
Every player. I mean, hey, if that can happen, I'm on board with you, Bill. I'm on board with you. But no, I think that this is a lose-lose situation. And I hate to be this guy, but I feel like lately I've been that pessimist. It is what it is. I'm just gonna embrace it. I feel like he's in a lose-lose situation right now. Like, I really don't think that this organization, no matter how much they say they do, has any faith in him. Unless our team is good, I don't think there's much chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be really given a fair shake, to be 100%. I think that unless, like I said, our team goes out there and balls out, or like you said, he goes out there and puts on a show and it's just so clear and evident that everybody around him was just so bad. You know what I mean? There's the bar. I don't even think there's a bar. You know, I really don't. I think that at this point, they're just going out there to play the season out. Yeah. You know, and I hate to be that negative, but it gives me that vibe. Everything that they say, everything that they've been doing, it seems like they really don't like this team. And that might be Nick Sirianni saying, look, he's not the quarterback I want. And if that is, it is what it is. You're our new coach. I give you that. If it's Howie, guys, we're screwed. It is, you know, like that's where we're at. But like if it's like I said, if it's Nick Sirianni, if it's his offense, if coordinators, if it's the team just saying, look, we think this is what we need to do, might take us a year. Because let's look back, right? Last year we what's it called? Or not last year. What was I gonna say? Damn, I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You got this. We're rooting for you.
Yeah, I just forgot what I was talking about. I just looked at my text and I lost my.
You said Nick Sirianni, something about last year.
Yeah, no. What I was saying. All right. So what I was saying is, I feel like either way, if this was a team that they believed in, we would probably still be at 6, to be honest, because next year wouldn't matter as much. Because realistically, we're very young on the offense. So I feel like this is them saying that, you know, look, we're revving up. And in the beginning of the year, if we look at the beginning of the year, this is what I wanted to say. You heard what they said. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they broke up, why the marriage was broken up with, you know, Doug and Howie, is because they had different sights for what the team could be. We all know Doug wants to win. We all know Doug is a gambler, right? So that leads you to believe that that's not what the franchise thought we were at. So this is probably going to take a year. They've said it's going to probably take a year or two. Last comment I'm going to read because I just feel like there's hostility in it, so I want to hear it. But he says, wait, no, this is the wrong one. He said, what are you talking about? They get the Miami first and the Colts first and give them a 2023 if you have to, so you dropped 6 spots for Watson. We're going to have to give up way more than that. Like 3 firsts, and further, they're probably not going to take that, to be honest, because the Colts ain't even a first really yet. Yeah,
it's not guaranteed. Everyone keeps saying, oh, we got 3 next year. We very well could have 2 firsts, 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Like at the best, this is probably what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to give up your number 12. You're going to have to give up probably both first-round picks next year, or you're going to spread it out and then give up more picks. Like, once you go into another year, the value drops. Like there's a whole index. Like there's a whole index of draft picks and how much they're worth. So, I mean, hey, will you call him up? Make sure you get that trade for us because I definitely want Watson at that price. If that's what it's gonna call. Hey, you know, I respect it. I respect
he really
it.
believes it. I don't know. I think they're gonna want King's ransom for Deshaun Watson. I mean, we've seen what it took for Washington to get RG3, who wasn't even proven. That was more than just 3 first-round picks. Or I think San Fran just gave up like a King's ransom to move up to that number 3 spot for a spot they're not even guaranteed to get Kyle Wilson unless they're happy with either Justin Fields or Kyle Wilson, whichever one. Or Zach Wilson, yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
He's not going to be an Eagle. I don't care. But,
yeah, facts. Who cares about his name?
But I don't think with Deshaun Watson, you're going to, unless the Houston Texans organization is really the ones pulling the strings around, like ruining this guy's reputation, it doesn't do them any justice because what's going to happen at the end of the day? They're going to cut him and not get nobody for him. So I don't know. But
this might just get only more interesting.
It's going to be a little bit
more interesting. So, all right, quickly, Jalen Hurts is ready to be the QB1. Agree or disagree?
I agree. I think he is. I think he's ready. I mean, why not?
I agree.
If Josh Rosen can be a number 1 for a little bit, I think Jalen Hurts might be a step above.
I feel you. Josh Rosen ain't that bad, man. Just shout out to Josh Rosen. He's a nice guy. But but no, I agree too. I think it's Jalen Hurts time. I think it's, the truth hurts, man. It's time to see him go ball out. But listen, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. We had like 50 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you have not seen our beautiful faces before, I am Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. This is my brother Brandon, aka Shaky B, and we run Philly the podcast. And I am going live at 2:30 on my show, so y'all can come on over, come hang out. Thank you, Bill, for keeping us entertained, bro. I appreciate that. That was fun. But shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Tom and the whole A2D family. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here, Brandon?
No, just come check us out at Philly the podcast. We have a mock draft series that we've been doing, going through every other team and seeing what their creators, what their guys from like Sports Illustrated and stuff like that. We've gotten guys from all different places to come and make picks for their team. So come check that out. And we get dope interviews too, guys. So just make sure you come check us out. Like, subscribe A2D. Like, subscribe Philly the podcast. Do your thing, man.
He did that all in one breath. You gotta love it. We getting better at this, man. But yeah, y'all know what it is, man. Other than that, it is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.